This video is to demonstrate the longer curve, or what I'm calling the two-step curve. And whatever pattern you're using, it may have contained different number of stitches, but it's all works generally the same way. So for this example, we're going to start with 12 single crochet across. Okay, so that's 12. So what we're going to do here is just like you would do on the shorter curve, the single step, we're going to turn and we're going to go straight back into the stitch we just made. Don't chain or anything else. Just go straight back in and go back across 12 stitches. Okay, and that's our second set of 12. So then we're going to turn and go back straight into that stitch we just made, and usually it's one less stitch on this row, so we're going to go for 11. Okay, so that makes 11. So we're skipping the last stitch here, of that 12th stitch, and what we're going to use that for is a step to help us bring this curve around and get back down here to the bottom. So make sure you remember or mark where that's at, because we're going to need that. And we're going to turn, same thing, go straight back in for 10 across here. And that makes 10. And again, we're going to have this skipped stitch here at the end that we're going to use later to help us come back up. So that's the first step here. We still have 12 stitches with 10 across and the 2 on the side. But instead of just going across the 10 and going back down like we would on the shorter curve, we're going to make one more step. So go straight back in here and go across for 9 stitches. And that's 9. So again, we skipped one more stitch at the end of the row, so now we have 2 steps right here and here. And we need to make one on the other side, so go back the other direction for 8. And that's 8. And so on this side you'll see, or you should see, the same thing where you have 2 skip stitches, 2 steps here. Again, we still have 12 stitches if you add the 4 up the side and the 8 across the top. So now we're going to continue the round. We're going to make 8 right back on top of those 8 we just made. Okay, so once we get here, we're going to work our way down these 2 steps down to the bottom. So we're going to go through the second skip stitch. Make sure you're keeping your stitches really tight here. Okay, and we're going to go through the first one that we made. Sometimes these are a little bit tough to get back through. Not quite. There we go. Okay. Keeping it tight. And then be careful down here. Make sure you're going through the correct stitch. This one's already been worked, so don't go through that one. Sometimes it can be helpful to count back this direction. Make sure you're hitting the right one. So then we're going to go around whatever the pattern says. In this case, it's 12. And I'm sorry if you're using this for the Seahorse, it's 10, not 12 on the bottom, but do whatever the pattern says. So that brings us back around to this other step here. You can see that we're starting to curve over here. We brought that down, but this one still needs to come down. So for the next round, we're going to work our way back up. So we're going to start with the first skip stitch down here and go through that. And then the second one, and then up here at the top. So again, be careful, it can be a little tricky to figure out which stitch to go through after you do that first one because of how it pulls it to the right. So make sure you're working through the correct stitch. And then you're just going to continue back around just like you normally would, following the pattern. So once you get all the way back around to the start, you should have made a nice curve here.